So where are you from exactly?
LA. Yeah.
LA. So
Yeah, born and raised. Yeah.
Okay. And so it was from I guess you pulled inspiration from skateboarding, and then how did that kind of tie into like what you are today?
So, started with the dunks, and then I was like, all right, again, how can we spice things up?
Mm-hmm.
I started taking apart like swooshes off of Air Forces, stuff like that in my room, just cutting up Louis bags or different materials, replacing the swoosh. And then I would just post it,
Mm-hmm.
and then friends would be like, yo, that's fire. Like, let me get a pair. I'm like, all right.
So
like,
you were kind of on the early wave of putting the LV on the Nike swoosh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it was just, I thought it was cool,
Yeah.
So I'm like, shit, I'm going to put some Louis on my forces.
Yeah, no, I remember that was like, I remember seeing that being like, oh, like this is like crazy. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so then people wanted it. I'm like, damn, this could be a little side hustle. And then I'm like, not sure what I'm going to be doing in my life at the time. I was going to go to the Special Forces for the Air Force.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was planning to do that out of high school. Ended up being talked out of it, from fame and whatnot. But, being a surfer kid too, and just surfing and wanting to go that way, but just kind of working and doing random stuff, production jobs, and not really knowing what I wanted to do.
And so when did you kind of start realizing that this is, something that I kind of want to pursue and be great at?
So, I kept making random little things, selling here and there, but the moment I learned how to remake a full shoe, that was the moment I called my sister, I was like, yo, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. This is what I want to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Learned under, my last boss as well, and my last and final boss, I guess, that I had.
Okay.
The shoe surgeon, so I do owe him the respect of that.
Okay, so yeah, I was kind of get into that because seeing this does remind me of the only person that I know that kind of reconstructs shoes and redesigns them is the shoe surgeon.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool to say that you actually used to work for him.
Yeah. So I started off as a student, and then I was working a job at the same time and going to school, and then he asked me to come on board, and I'm like, all right. So then started from being someone's assistant in media, doing his PR, a bunch of stuff. Got promoted 5 times, in 10 months, to then quality control, helping designs, helping bringing shoes to life, giving ideas, all these sorts of things. And then so I kind of learned the lay of the land there, and started bringing in my own clientele. Got an endorsement deal. I was about to leave to Paris to college.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then, yeah, but it was for media communications, right?
Gotcha.
So something totally different. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do this on the side, see what happens. And then they're like, oh, we know you're planning to leave to Paris, but we want to offer you this endorsement deal. We'll take over your Instagram. We'll do your production. You bring in the clients. We'll give you a monthly allowance, this and that.
Dang, so that's why your Instagram was so decorated.
In the beginning, and then it definitely helped. But then, just started bringing my own people, and, we started to honestly butt heads, and, can't grow under someone's shadow, in someone's shadow. So, I ventured off and started my own.
And then, so do you just kind of create things under the name Dexter the Creator, or do you have a brand name?
Yeah, so my artist name is Dexter the Creator. My real name's Samuel, right?
Oh, really? So it's not even Dexter? Okay,
yeah.
I would have never known that.
Yeah, so, no one really knows that anymore. Unless you knew me from before, or unless, the only other time I hear that is if my mom's yelling at me,
And so where did the name Dexter come from? Like Dexter's Laboratory?
Yeah, Dexter's Laboratory, also the serial killer.
Okay.
So
like Dexter the show. Okay.
So that was my favorite show, both of them. Growing up, Dexter's Laboratory, and then he's like a scientist, coming up with creations. But then you have this serial killer, and he's, turning his form of art, was, cutting people up and doing things, and his form of creating good out of it. It's a little dark, but I cut up dead animals and
essentially
create art from that. So
Okay. And then so as far as like a timeline, so you started out in your room when you were like in middle school?
No, high school.
High
End of
school.
high school.
Okay,
Yeah.
so end of high school, you're in your room trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, whether you want to go to special forces, and then you start cutting up shoes, doing the Air Forces, and then you work for the shoe surgeon, and then so how long ago did you work for the shoe surgeon?
Man, now it's been like 5 years.
Oh, so
Yeah.
so quite a while. So
Yeah.
so you've been in the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so it's been like roughly 6 years. I worked with him, alongside him for a year, and then ventured off, got my own first studio off of Skid Row.
Okay.
And then, was just doing one shoe at a time. Did a pair for Stan Smith, did a pair of Under Armour shoes for the owner of the Baltimore Ravens,
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so it was just like slow in
Yeah.
the beginning, but started just building up more and more.
And so do these people reach out to you, or do you reach out to them? How does that work?
So both. It's a lot of word of mouth, and then the internet's a crazy place now. You
Yeah.
can post something and you don't know who sees it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
there's a lot of, benefits to the internet, and it's been very useful. But yeah, it's a lot of word of mouth, but no matter how old you are, if you're 6 years old to 70 years old, everybody relates to shoes and everybody wants shoes, so that's like what I've found you can never have enough of.
Yeah, and it's also too a thing, it's something that'll always be into play. It's kind of like having a garbage company, like people will forever have garbage or like water.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of think about like clothing and shoes, because no matter how much we evolve, we're still going to need like basic things.
Oh yeah, and people like exclusive things now. People want to feel special. So I'm selling you exclusivity, to have a pair of shoes that you can walk in a room knowing 9 times out of 10 no one else is going to be wearing those.
Okay. And so take me through like your process. So like your approach to shoe design.
Okay.
Like when let's say I were to come to you with a project, what's your first step?
So it's first, what shoe are we making?
Okay.
I have my own designs, my original line. Can do Nikes, Adidas, New Balance, pretty much anything, right? So I can recreate any shoe that's existing, or we can also design a shoe from scratch, and then there's the original line. So it's kind of pinpointing which silhouette you want to start with.
Okay.
From there, you would then, what's the mood board, or what's the inspirations, what's the direction you were going, or do you already have a vision in your head of, or an idea, or maybe it's just colors, right? So then you tell me a certain colors, your favorite color, whatever it may be, and I'll give you a list of options of different materials that are that color, whether it's an exotic skin, snakeskin, crocodile, suede, smooth leather, tumbled leather. It could be a canvas, textiles, it could be recycled denim, it could be anything.
So the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And then is there any like challenges you kind of face during the process?
Yeah. I mean, if it's a shoe I haven't made before, it's like trying to
make something from scratch essentially.
Yeah, so starting from the beginning. So like the most recent one was like this Adidas Forum Low that I did for Dodge with T Grizzly, and I never made that shoe before. And so that was a whole A to Z, It wasn't like I already have all the patterns, I have all this stuff to make a Jordan 1 or an Air Force or recreate those. All right, now we're starting from scratch. We got to design the vector, the mock-up, be able to design it on the computer, and then take that, turn it into a pattern, get a pattern made to, recreate these shoes. Then it's making the sample, making sure it's good. Then it's like, okay, now we can make the final pair.
Got you. So it's a pretty long process trying to make something from scratch.
Absolutely. Definitely takes a little bit.
I mean, yeah, because if it takes a while to make like a cut and sew piece, I could hardly imagine how long it would take to make a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Just because you've got the sole, you got the bottom of the sole, you got the little gum.
Oh yeah.
You got, I don't even know what those things are called, but I feel like there's a lot that a shoe has that are things that it needs. Nothing necessarily that you could take a shortcut with.
No, yeah, and if you take a shortcut, you'll see it. Like the shoe's not gonna look right. It's not gonna feel right. It's just everything's gonna be off. Not there's not one part of the process that's more important than the other, because at the end of the day, the stitching alone is what holds the shoe together. So if your tension on your machine is off and your stitching looks off, or it's not holding it strong, that shoe can come apart. You know, so everything down to the stitch is just as important as, you know.
Man, yeah, I wouldn't even know where to start if I were to go about making the shoes.
It's hard. I mean, people's minds go blank usually, so I'm there to help, you know.
I've kind of dived a little bit into shoemaking, but I didn't make my own silhouette. I basically just took like a Nike SB silhouette and just kind of switched out the swoosh.
Okay.
And then found like a supplier like on Alibaba.
Yeah,
Just got like 20, 30 pairs made. And so I do definitely want to get into the kind of making them locally, is sourcing everything locally, just because it's better to say that, you know, like in the little description, like source locally here in LA, just because when people are buying them, they're like, all right, cool, it's not from China, it's not cheap, it's the good stuff.
Absolutely.
And so what's kind of your day-to-day look like? Like, what does Dexter do when he wakes up and then to when he gets to bed?
Man, so wake up, usually go to the gym for an hour, get my mind right, eat, then from there, and sometimes I'll pull up to the studio. I got one guy that helps me like full time create, and so then I'll work alongside him. So either I'm here in the morning, prepare, then go to the gym, or I'm at the gym and then come here. But always got to do the gym.
Yeah. And is that kind of like mental therapy for you?
Yeah, mental, physical. It's just, you know, get your blood flowing right. You know, your whole day after going to the gym or doing some sort of exercise, whether you're going on a walk, doing something other than just jumping into something, or, you know, hopping on your phone and scrolling for like an hour, this and that. Like, it just gets your mind right, and the rest of your day is more productive.
Yeah, because also too, I think people don't realize that by exercising, it allows blood in your body to move. Yeah. And so the more your blood is moving, it leaves more room for different ideas.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, when you got blood rolling through your brain and through your body and everything just kind of flows, because it's basically like our mind has to work out. We have to work out physically, and as well as our organs. Yeah. You know, we constantly need more and more blood,
more oxygen,
oxygen, things like that. And so, as far as like going to the gym, is there anything else that you do to kind of help your mind or creative process?
You know, sometimes I'll just like sit and stare at, you know, whether it's like staring in the ocean, staring in the sky, you know, just let your mind kind of wander. Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, being a creative alone is like hard. Like, the mind is.
Yeah, we're in a constant battle with ourselves.
Yeah, that's my biggest battle. You know, like every day I'm in my own head, talking to myself. I'll be talking to myself like in the mirror or whatever, you know, like just literally going through it, but people don't even know. Like, a lot, like I've said this before, like, from the outside perspective, if you see me online or Instagram and this and that, you're like, oh, his life is great. He doesn't have no problems. Oh, everything's just perfect. And these things just pop up and like, cool, you know, but I'm like, no, like, everything's not great. Everything's not always fine. I'm smiling, but I might not be happy.
Yeah, and that's also too the biggest kind of misconception is, because, you know, the power of social media and internet, we only kind of show what we want people to see. Yeah. Because, you know, we're obviously not going to show the negative side, because who wants to see the negative? Yeah.
But I try to as well, to let people know that things aren't always fucking perfect.
Yeah, because it's a big misconception. I feel like for a lot of creatives and artists in general. Absolutely. And so what does like your toolbox look like? Like, what is your studio like? So for example, like, I'm a fashion designer, so I've got like a screen printer, I've got like a heat press, and a sewing machine, and then I do use an embroidery machine from time to time. Okay. And so as a shoe designer, what's kind of your like dream studio look like?
I mean, there's just a set number of machines that I need to create the shoes. So you have like a post bed, a sidewall stitch, which is, you know, literally just a machine to stitch the soles to the shoe if it has the groove. So that alone, and then zigzag machine. Then there's another machine called a skiver that helps thin down the leathers. And, so there's like, let's say 5 machines that I kind of need total. And I like to have like 2 of the post beds, which is like just for the majority of the sewing.
Mm-hmm.
But post beds are literally just meant for shoemaking.
Gotcha.
And so I like to have 2, so in case one malfunctions, you're not reliant on waiting for a mechanic, or if I got to figure it out, we got another one to go.
And so 5 machines, that sounds kind of expensive. Does the prices get pretty high once you kind of get to this level?
Yeah, I mean, the stitch just to do this, like that machine is like $7,000 at least, and they go up to like 30. It just depends on what brand and this and that. I mean, you got to pay to play, and it's, all starts from somewhere. But I mean, other than that, all I really need is a high desk where I'm not like leaning over and breaking my back,
mm-hmm.
or as well as a cutting mat and knives and a sharpener.
Okay.
And then you got like contact cement glue, things to mark the leathers for placements, registration marks, stuff like that. And then lastly, it's just the last. So that these are actually like the molds to then you put this over, let's say.
Oh, okay.
And then it gets it its shape, right? So you pull it around, and it's Italian lasting methods. Okay. So then you're left with something like this.
They like
attach it to it.
Okay.
So that's kind of how that works. So there's few things. It's a lot. It's a lot more intricate than people think, but there's definitely like a set number of things you need to be able to create these.
And then I guess, how long did it kind of take you to master using each of these machines?
I mean, I just put in, it's like, comes back to like 10,000 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say,
thing,
do you think you've 10,000 hours into the...
I think so. I mean, 6 years, there was like 1 year where working at the shoe surgeon, I would go 6:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night. I'm working on his shit. And then from 7:30 at night till 3:30 in the morning, sometimes 4 in the morning, I'm working on my own shit.
Got you.
And then I'm driving home, 30 minutes, sleeping for 2 hours, waking up, coming back. And I did that for like 6-7 months, And so that made me get like sick. Like I got sick.
Yeah.
After,
Yeah, no, like constantly living, being a part of something. When it's all I feel like it becomes more natural that way. But it's not the easy part, because you did put in essentially a lot of hours.
No, absolutely.
And so, have you ever collaborated with any artists?
You mean other people that make, or
either other people that make shoes, or like anyone else,
like music and
music and stuff like that.
The most recent was with T Grizzly, and we did a shoe for Dodge Motors.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's this. They had this car, or a new car that they were bringing out called the Hornet. It's a mid-sized SUV, but it's a electric vehicle. And so we designed a shoe around that car.
Okay.
And so, added the little logos, emblems. So it's like the Hornet. Then you got the Dodge logo right there, all embossed in gold foil. And then like this gold here was to match the debut color of the car, which was like an Acapulco gold. Right. And then, different black leathers. Like this is like a waxy black, smooth black leather. This stitch is actually called Honey, So taking like the bees and the Hornet, like it happened to be the exact color we needed. It was called Honey. And then, I have my logo, 3M reflective piping, to represent like the tail lights of Dodges, like that iconic red glow that you would see going across. So we went all in.
It's definitely very, very intricate. And so what does that look like? Are you sitting in a boardroom with like all of Dodge's people and kind of presenting, or?
Yeah, I mean that it was like a Zoom of like 15 of them,
mm-hmm.
And then me and T would, FaceTime or Zoom. And then, it first started off as me and T. I got brought the project by Network. And so they linked me with T. Me and him connected. We did a Zoom. We met for the first time there. went through of our ideas. All right, cool. Let's go with this shoe. Let's do this. I told him my thoughts, asked him what he was thinking. Then I put together, let's say, 5 to 10 different options to choose from. Then we narrowed it down to which one we liked the best. Then we then introduced those to Dodge.
Gotcha.
We're like, hey, this is what we're thinking. And then they say what they, their thoughts are. Go back and forth a few times. All right, cool, let's do it. And then it's go time. Then we get the materials, start creating the first sample, and then we make 11 pairs.
And then so I feel like working with a company like Dodge, it's pretty easily to get any type of budget approved.
It's
easy and hard.
It's easy and hard. Like there's definitely that's like marketing dollars. Most of the time companies are using if you want to do a marketing play of that nature. So there's definitely budgets there, but with the times that we're in right now, everything's kind of a little weird too.
Yeah, I definitely understand. And so is doing a collaboration with like T Grizzly and Dodge, is that like your first kind of thing like that of that sort?
No, I mean, I've done other, shoes with other artists, but as far as...
What's like your favorite one that you've done?
Honestly, besides this one, because this one was fun, because it's something I haven't made before.
Yeah.
And it was just like different. I would say this cleat I did for Jock Peterson.
Wow.
Yeah, when he was in the World Series on the Braves. And so I made like a Jordan 1 that looked like a just like natural leather, like a baseball glove, let's say, with the baseball stitch going around the heel, where the top of the wings are. And he ends up wearing them and hits a three pinch hit home run to win the series. And it's like on the New York Times, you see the cleats. And
dang,
so like that was like a surreal moment for me.
Yeah. Do you have you have it like framed at the
crib? I mean, I have the Getty image. I just need it to get like blown up. I just want it done correctly. So I'm just waiting.
That's what's up. And so I guess essentially, what is this shoe? Like, is this a Tiffany collab?
It's my own iteration on what I thought the Tiffany & Co. and Nike collab could have been. So that's the Friends and Family colorway. You got that classic Tiffany green or teal. And then the blacks are, just luxury. So you got black crocodile.
Yeah, I was saying, what is this?
So the Tiffany color is Python.
Python.
And so I thought, not hating, but, I thought they could have done a little better than...
Yeah, I was going to say, because they did release a shoe, right?
Yeah, it was just a nubuck. Like, the general release was just black nubuck, and then the Tiffany swoosh, and then you got a little silver piece on the back of this shoe.
Oh, okay.
Like, come on,
Yeah, for a company like Tiffany, yeah.
And Nike, like, y'all can put a little more sauce into it, I felt like. But so I just did my own version. Did like a few pairs of those and released those on Network.
Cool. And then, so tell me about Network. Because I don't really understand. Do you work for Network or you work with them?
I work with Network. Okay. So early on when they were starting, I was like one of the first sneaker customizers, you can say, that were on there. And then we started with this 420, release. And that went crazy. Sold out 420 pairs in like 20 minutes. And so after that, we just started dropping different stuff. More and more customizers started coming on. Like sneakers were it. And, ever since, it's been like a few years now, a couple years, I would say. And we just, do limited quantity releases now, a lot smaller, auctioning pairs, or, if they have, brand partnerships and stuff like that.
And so for anyone that doesn't know what Network is, what is Network?
Network's a live stream selling platform that helps creators reach a broader audience, anywhere from collectibles to artists, merch, if you make clothes, shoes, pretty much anything, hype and, stuff like that, of that nature. And they give you their platform and their viewers that are constantly looking to buy certain things. and you have an option, you have a chance to buy it, but you're doing a 30-minute live stream for your show.
Oh, okay.
That's explaining your product, and you're talking to the people, and giving them, hey, this is what you're getting. This is what went into it. This is what this product means.
Okay, yeah, that is pretty interesting, because one of my other friends, his name's Chris Bailey. He remember a few years ago I saw him. He was doing like a live show on network, but I just never really know what it was about. And so you're any kind of creator could just go on the website and just essentially sign up.
Not necessarily.
Or like apply.
Yeah. So, there's a talent partnership side of the team, and they're like, they scout people, and they found me, and then shout out Rhea. I was found, brought in, and then I put on some people, to like get in there. I'm not too sure if you can just like apply or like
yeah, but
of that
obviously
nature,
you got to know somebody.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely know that they're not shy to let people, give them the opportunity. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, so as far as like, building your brand, because I feel like, trying to grow a brand and essentially even build it from the ground up is a pretty hard thing to do, especially today of being everything so saturated.
Absolutely.
What are, kind of take me through like some of your marketing strategies? Or even just like promoting.
So, just showing data in the life type stuff, whether it's coming in, designing, going, sourcing. I'm at the leather house showing people where it's at, stuff like that, where it all stems from. And then like the continual process. And in between that, you have meetings, doing all different sorts of things to try and grow the business, get new opportunities, while still trying to create and deliver and do content in that, right? But, with consistent content, that is like the biggest part of marketing.
Yeah, content is everything.
Yeah, and a lot of people nowadays, I'm sure you're aware of, they don't like as much curated content. They like raw iPhone,
raw, unedited,
like quick,
unfiltered.
You don't have too much time for their attention span. So it's anywhere from 7 seconds to 20 seconds. You got, I would say.
And then is this do you have like a videographer following you all day, or are you just kind of recording yourself?
Both. So I'll, depending on the project, I'm currently repositioning myself, getting a whole new team, so I'll have more consistent content. So it's kind of like gone up and down, with trying to start your brand and business. It's this roller coaster.
Yeah.
And so you'll have your highs, and then you'll have your lows, and then you're like, all right, what am I doing now? And then you'll go back up. So that's happened to me like 3 times already, So now I'm repositioning, gonna plan to have consistent content created weekly. And from there, you're able to help companies market, or, create awareness, do collaborations that gets your name out there. If artists or athletes are asking you to make cleats or this and that, whatever it may be, the more people you're getting your stuff on, the more eyeballs are being seen. If they're posting, you're posting, other people are seeing it, they're sharing it. It's going crazy, So it's just creating the awareness, and the only way you do that is by creating more and pushing the boundaries. You never know what's going to be the one that's going to really help you out and set you up for the next level, So it's a constant, evaluation of yourself and what's the right thing to do. Not, you don't know all the time what to do, what the right play is.
And so one of the struggles that I was facing on early on was I was trying to get my stuff out there, but essentially I was having to give away a lot of free stuff. Yeah. And in even some cases, essentially paying to get my stuff on some people. And so as a shoe designer, are you DMs just flooded with people asking for free shoes essentially?
Oh yeah, that definitely happens.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, a lot of people on there, they try, it's like, I'm not saying people are nobody, but if you don't really have a value, or if you're just really trying to finesse and oh, I have this blog, or I got this and that, and it's cool, a million other people have that. You think I can just give everybody free stuff? So I'm like very particular on like who I give
Yeah.
free things to, because it is energy.
Yes, time,
You
energy.
know, time, energy, money. Like, these things don't pop up overnight. It's not like an easy bake oven. I just throw all the materials in, close the door, 10 minutes go by, ding, and then you pull it out, you know? And so people don't understand that. And some people also, whether it's artists and whatnot, when they're expected to pay too, they're expected stuff for free sometimes, you know, depending on how they move. Some are more humble, some are more arrogant. And so it's like some of those people are like, well, I'm this person. And I'm like, okay, you make money off your music, right? And if people are just giving your music away for free, how are you making money? You put time and energy into that. Okay, you're an artist and you do that. All right, cool. I'm an artist. I make shoes. How do you think I pay the bills? How do you think I eat? How do you think my guy who helps me, Edwin, how do you think he's paying for his rent or for his kids' food?
Yeah, and I feel like people don't really. They just assume that, you know, I don't care about anything else. I'm me, so I deserve everything in the world.
Absolutely. I'm like, cool. You can get in line with everybody else that thinks that. Everybody thinks the world revolves around them. You know, so.
What would be like your name, like 2 people who you like just want to make a pair of shoes for, like 2 idols?
Central C.
Yeah, Central C.
Yeah, I've been fucking with his music heavy, and it just his style. Yeah, he's definitely like probably one of my number ones right now. Who else? I would probably say it'd be cool to make a shoe for like Michael Jordan, or like, you know, someone that
Like
really
iconic,
changed the game of shoes. Like without the Jordan 1 and what that did, all these sneakers wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
So, you know, that alone, you know, something of that nature, or like Wu-Tang, you know, stuff like that.
Do you have any connections to Central C? Like, is that like on your vision board?
Yeah, it's definitely on there. I'm sure there's somebody like, you know, that likes Rule of 6.
Yeah.
You know,
I talk about this all the time, just because there truly is 6 degrees.
Oh yeah,
between everyone in the world.
Absolutely. And it's just how I'm not really that type of person to like chase like that hard. Like I just try and like manifest.
Yeah, just let it happen.
You know, you're big on manifestation and stuff like that. And it's when the right time will happen, you know, or the right person will connect me. But you know, I have had people that are connected to him, and then his management or something changes. So it's tough. It's tough.
Well, especially too for someone like him, he's growing so rapidly.
Yeah.
And I feel like someone of that kind of, not necessarily level, but just the way that they're growing is faster than I feel like the people around them, and so like they're gonna constantly need, you know, more and more essentially militant people around them.
No, absolutely. And you know, that creates barriers.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you know,
big barriers. I feel like
it's tough though. Like imagine being like someone like big like that, and then everybody's trying to get to you.
Yeah.
So you don't know who to trust, who's trying to work an angle on you. You know, as minuscule as I am, I've dealt with that too. Like, oh, everybody wants to act like your best friend. Everybody says they can help you, or I can get you this person, this and that. Or like, oh, just give me a pair of shoes and I'll make this. Like, okay, like, how do I know that's real? Or do you truly just have good intentions? Like, what's your motive? You know, so it's hard to trust people. So sometimes when you meet these bigger figures, and it's just like, unless they're introduced from a friend standpoint, like your friends introducing me to you, then you feel more comfortable.
It's a lot easier because
you know,
it's the
stuff like that.
It's the sense of you already know them.
Yeah.
And so you talked a little bit about manifestation. I'm a big firm believer in manifestation. You know, my mom, she etched that into my skull basically early on. And so what does your kind of manifestation look like? Did you imagine this, that you'd be in LA doing what you do now?
No, but it all started from an idea. And then once I made that first shoe, I just started thinking, yo, I want to make shoes for this person. I want to do this. I want to make shoes for artists, athletes. I want to be that guy. And so I just started believing that over and over again. And I wasn't, like, my shoes in the beginning were not good. Like, the design is there and, like, it's there, but, like, the construction, the stitching, all of that, it was not up to par for me, right? And so it was like, okay, I want to do all these things, but I got to perfect my craft too. So it was just me constantly telling, all right, well, I want to work with the shoe surgeon. Okay, how am I going to do that? Figure that out. Ended up working with him. They hit me and then brought me on. And then I'm like, okay, well, I want to do this. I want to do this with this person. Ended up doing that. You know, things just start coming and aligning. But you just got to constantly think of it. And you got to already imagine that you are that person, or you're going to do these things. These things are going to happen one way or another. I don't know when, but it's happening. Like, I'm going to make a shoe for Sench one day. Yeah. You know, I don't know when.
Technically, it's already happened.
Yeah, technically, Technically, it's already in the works. But, you know, I do believe that, you know, just putting it out there, constantly thinking that positive thoughts, and, like, the moment you're having, like, negative thoughts, try and flip that switch. You know, and that's very powerful.
Yeah, because I totally agree, because, you know, we definitely are our thoughts. Like, you could tell, you know, you could tell if we're thinking good, you could tell if we're thinking bad. Like, walking down the street, you know, if someone has a certain look to them, you're like, okay, they're obviously thinking something kind of off. And that's just kind of goes back to creating the universe on our head, just because Absolutely. you're going through life a lot different than I am. And going back to the thoughts discussion, sorry, a freaking mosquito bit me. But yeah, going back to, like, you know, what you think and what your thoughts are literally make up your entire world.
Absolutely.
I could believe that I'm a billionaire every single day if I'm thinking about it 24/7 until the day I actually become a billionaire. And I feel like life works like that, but just on different scales.
Absolutely. And then by the time you get to that point, sometimes you don't even realize that, like, damn, this is what I've been, like, trying to get to. And then so you always have to have that moment of reflection and, like, looking back and be like, damn, at one point this was just a thought. And now I'm here, but I want more. You know, it's like never enough type of thing, you know?
And that's also too, as far as being a creative and artist, you know, we're always trying to chase, you know, like, we're always trying to keep up with the Joneses, essentially. And so how do you kind of manage dealing with always wanting more?
Man.
Pretty deep question.
I'm doing that now. I mean, I never thought I would collaborate with someone like Dodge Motors. And I'm like, okay, well, what's next? You know, and it's just, I don't know. Like, it's just, there's no, like, rule book to this.
Yeah.
Right? So it's, like, hard to even answer that. Like, it's just going through the motions and just keeping things going.
I feel like steadily just doing things and essentially being outside, because when I first moved to LA, I didn't realize that just by, like, being outside, going to places, like, that's what you need to do is if you really want to put yourself out there and meet different people, it's literally physically being outdoors.
No, absolutely. But it's like, one thing happens, you get one thing done, and you're like, okay, well, what's next? What am I like that was cool. And then, like, in the moment, you're, like, tripping. And then after it's done, you're like, all right, whoa, what are we going to do now?
Yeah.
And it's like, you never know, but you just got to, like you said, put yourself out there. Keep things moving, more importantly. Like, even, like, shit, I'm going through stuff now, you know, and, like, in my personal life and whatnot. And it affects my creativity. It affects my motivation. It affects me just as a whole. But I can't stop doing this because I got people that rely on me.
Yeah.
From them feeding their children to paying their rent, you know, things of that nature. You know, the moment I stop making shoes and, like, being that person, Dexter's gone.
Yeah, like, the world's gonna be spinning a little bit different.
I'm gonna be Samuel.
Yeah.
You know, like, I like being Dexter. So like if I stop, who am I? You know, and then what? I just gotta go work a normal job. Like I don't even know where I would begin. You know, I'm like, this is my life. This is what I like imagine.
Yeah.
You know.
And so I guess we'll kind of start wrapping it up. But as far as like engaging with like fans and even the community, do you see yourself like opening up a store eventually, or throwing pop-ups, or doing stuff like that?
Absolutely. I mean, I had a shop on Melrose before the spot I'm in now. Now I'm moving to another spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my plan is to have like a bigger warehouse. I'm gonna put like custom cars, like exotic, whips and stuff like that, like custom built, and whether it's interior, exterior, things of that nature. And then like the shoes, as well as like an experience that you're able to come in and design your own and pick materials and create a 3D render, right? Like touch screen display,
So like a kind of like Nike ID.
Yeah,
essentially.
Just way more into it though, like way more in depth, and like you can get way more creative with it. One day it would be nice to have a retail store as of, for my original line and stuff like that. But as of right now, it would just be more of a studio and a creative space, like a warehouse type of ordeal. But yeah, one day, have a spot on Rodeo next to like a Miri or something. That'd be cool. But
and then is this part of your original line?
Yeah, so that's my original high top, and then that was a line I dropped. I did a low top, high top runner, and a boot, all of that same colorway.
I've been loving the camo.
No, I appreciate it. It's fun. I mean, the real tree, it's Gore-Tex, so waterproof canvas. Then you got 3M reflected piping, so it's like kind of that hunting vibes. Mm-hmm. And then you got like the black leather toe cap. But yeah, like I love that shoe. The boot version is my favorite of it. Also the runner too. I mean, I like all of them, but just I see having my own line. This is cool. Like doing the recreations for people, it's fun. But what gets me excited is creating something new and something that I can call mine.
Cool. Yeah. And so I guess we'll talk about our last thing. What's sort of next for Dexter the Creator?
I'm gonna start my own agency as well as like a creative agency. Just kind of go bigger, be more than just a sneaker shoemaker. My great grandfather was a shoemaker in Mexico, so that's like kind of why it makes sense. But I want to be more than that, I want to be more than this. I want to consult for bigger companies. I've been asked by like Under Armour and different, brands and stuff, and having to say no at times because it just doesn't align or it's not the right time.
Because your first deal isn't always your best deal. Yeah,
no, absolutely, and you don't want to just grab the first one that's waved in front of you, because then maybe that blocks all these other opportunities. So it's being very strategic. I don't know how things are gonna play out, but I'm manifesting. My new spot I'm about to go look at. Have the cars lined up, have tattoos in there, like a tattoo shop, have the sneakers, things of that nature, have the agency side of things, maybe have some other clothing brands within it, or, just friends that create creatives, but just trying to be bigger than, and take myself out of this box.
Yeah.
So, and just also I want to educate, help colleges, people that want to learn footwear. It's like a dying, art form, because things are being automated.
Yeah,
automated.
Yeah.
And, so giving education at college courses or something like that would be cool. Just helping people, give them the tools to then create,
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Thank you for being part of the episode number 1.
Thank you.
Where could people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, DextertheCreator. You can also find my website, DextertheCreator.com. And then you can find me on Network, the app, at Dexter the Creator.
Okay.
So, there's... You can just type in the name and
Google,
it will pop
Google
up.
Dexter the Creator, everything will pop up.
Yeah, so you'll find it.
All right, well, Yeah, man. Once again, thank you again. This is the episode 1 of the Showroom with our guest Dexter the Creator.
It's been a pleasure.